AI agents connecting to your SaaS app. It's a massive growth opportunity you can't miss. But there's a problem. You've built a product for human users, and AI doesn't always act human. But don't stress. FrontEgg makes it easy and safe to open up your product to custom agents and Gen AI platforms like Gemini and ChatGPT. First, connect. Just add your API spec and choose which tools you want to expose to agents. FrontEgg will create a hosted MCP server for you. Drop your new MCP URL into a Gen AI platform. Look at that! You're listed. Now a user can interact with your product using the AI interfaces they already love. Next, you need enterprise-grade security. For example, to pay invoices in a billing app, you might want a lower limit for agents. Use FrontEgg to set fine-grained guardrails. When the limit is hit, FrontEgg can ask for additional authentication or invite a human into the loop for approval. Finally, observe the impact. Track how many customers are using your AI tools and how often activities were blocked or flagged. It shows that your policies matter. FrontEgg gives you the fastest way to join the AI revolution. Enterprise grade, no code, and the agentic interface your users already love. With FrontEgg, your SaaS product is ready for AI. So open it up.
Okay, can't get tired of looking at that. Welcome, Aviad. Good to see you. Wow, you're all white and glowing over there.
The lights in the office is like crazy.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So, just a recap of the last few days. It's been, super exciting over here. We get all those responses coming from customers, from the industry about the release, and I have to say that I'm stoked. We introduced, just to give a short recap, we introduced FrontEgg Agent Link, a platform that allows you to securely open your product up to AI platforms, to any agent access, and you don't need any other tool basically. So we saw that you can just take whatever it is that you have out there and connect it to ChatGPT, to Claude, and any agent that might connect to your application. You can define policies on that, and I promise today I won't do slides anymore, right? So I won't do slides, and we'll have a more open conversation, a more technical session. But I do want to recap for a second what we've done without slides, what we've been able to achieve, right? So here you can see the FrontEgg Agent Link dashboard, already connected to the expense application that we presented, receiving the requests, showing the tools that we have, data protection control. So we made sure that all emails are masked for US users, and we created policies that define what type of expenses are not allowed at all if they're too big, or what type of expenses are expected to be stepped up. So Agent Link will verify that indeed we are who we claim to be, and send us an email or an SMS for additional identity verification. And for other type of requests, we also need the approval of somebody else within our organization. So we defined all of that. We mentioned the monitoring. So everything is audited, and you can get to a full information over every request that was made, full raw data observability on the request, so you can troubleshoot if something is not working properly as expected. We can define approval flows. So yesterday we defined an approval flow through a super admin, and after a few minutes with an AI native experience of onboarding, we managed to spin up this enterprise grade MCP on top of our SaaS application. And also, Aviad joined me alongside our wonderful guests and presented what we're going to do with AgentLink and kind of how we look at it, what's the vision. And I think, at the end of the day, the fact that we've been able to connect everything so fast and to interact with our product through the AI platforms, it's just tremendous. We spent a lot of time on this product, and during the building out the product, we then, there was something that was raised by one of our architects on the questions that might come from customers when we talk to them, right? Because we're not new in this business. We're 6 years into this journey. Usually we speak to CTOs, to architects, to team leaders, to developers, and we deal with existing businesses. Aviad, you and I spoke about it yesterday, that the type of companies that we work with are companies that they have something to lose. They have existing applications, and they can't just afford not to give something out that is totally secured. Just to give you a sneak peek without bragging, but these are the type of names we're talking about, right? We're talking about companies like Siemens, like Palo Alto Networks, like NVIDIA, like eBay, and fast-growing startups that can't afford to damage their brands, right? So these are the type of companies. And what they would ask us typically is, that's all good, but what if I need more control? Right? You take an opinionated approach over things, and that's amazing. We did it with SaaS. We're doing it now with AI usage. But what if I need more control? What if I want to write my own stuff? What if I want to get into the code, right? And we kind of observe this new market that is happening with building AI native product, and companies like Bolt, like Lovable, right? Base 44, you start with a no-code experience, but then once you're ready, you can also tap into the code. And we sat together and we tried to understand, okay, how are we kind of combining those experiences? So from one hand, making it super easy to hook up your product and open it up externally. But on the other hand, if you need more control, what are you doing with it? So one of the options was, okay, let's just allow everything on the no-code platform. But then an idea came up to also do something that is not natural for us. We haven't done it for the last 6 years at least, and is to provide a product that is totally open source, has all the capabilities that we presented in the enterprise product, and but you can start your journey through the open source, and you can spin up everything you need over there. And to be honest, I was hesitant at the beginning, right? It's something that we haven't done before, but Aviad, you took control over it together with David Anton, our chief architect of UI and JavaScript, and you created this amazing thing that you claim it's an amazing thing. And here I will I will let you prove that indeed anything that we could have done that I presented along these 2 days that are already used by amazing companies, that you can achieve all of that and more. That's what you claim with the open source version. So it's a challenge.
It's a challenge. Challenge accepted. Yeah. I'll just say that there's one hand of being flexible and open source. And I think, one of the items that I do want to highlight, David, was the responsibility for the JavaScript community. So every other open source tool, and I blogged about it a few days ago, every other open source tools for MCPs is completely Python based. And we had the responsibility, because we are a native JavaScript company, of providing, what is necessary for our friends within the JavaScript community and our colleagues within the JavaScript community. And I took the challenge and providing a way to make sure that whatever we are doing over here, you showed a few days ago, right, how easy it was for you, like within a few minutes, to spin up an MCP server. I'm going to take the challenge. I'm going to do it through code and through, and then what we're going to show here is our FrontMCP by Agent Front. Agent Front is our open source version, and FrontMCP is our open core for AgentLink. And we're going to show how within 2 minutes you're going to spin up an MCP server. So are you ready for it, Sigi?
I'm stoked. Let's do it. Let's do it. And you also chose to do a live demo. No videos.
I'm doing a live coding
completely
demo.
Unplugged.
Completely unplugged. I'm going to do several copy pastes, okay? Because I don't want to bore you with my printing. So FrontMCP, going back, okay, so Agent FrontMCP already started. That's an complete open source SDK. It has all of the code here. You are more than welcome to contribute. It's a Apache 2.0 license. If you have an issue, if you have anything, pull request, whatever, just feel free to contribute, okay? So the way to start is like you do with, React Create App or Next.js Create App. So you do npx FrontMCP create. I'm going to create an e-commerce app, okay? And that's going to be the highlight of the day, creating an e-commerce app. All I have to do is just click on my npx. There you go. We have our e-commerce app. I'm going to install it. Complete live demo. And the next thing, I'm going to run it. I don't know if it took time, Sagi.
That was pretty fast. I have to say, that was pretty fast.
Yeah, and Dev, yeah. Let's see what we have, okay? So we have an hot reloading server and an MCP server running on, so that's our MCP server. It tied with a front MCP, okay? That's from the FrontMCP SDK. I'm going to remove authentication from now. You know what's going to happen next. Don't worry. I'm going to remove authentication now. We're going to plug it in next. I'm going to have a calc app. That's what the application that we are going to expose to the MCP server, which has one add tool, okay? A tool is going to combine input schema with A and B and going to return a Z for a number. We know how developers like to test stuff, right? We are developers. We know how developers think. Developers like to think and to test stuff as they code it. So this is why we implemented the live coding and the hot reloading. And then on top of it, we have implemented an inspector powered by the MCP inspector. So I'm running the MCP inspector. I'm able to connect, list my tools. I got the add tool.
Woo!
I'm gonna do 2 and 2. Sagi, do you have an idea what's that's gonna be? Add 2 numbers.
I need to check with my ChatGPT. Give me a second.
Okay.
It says that it's thinking. It says it's probably 4, unless it's hallucinating.
Yeah, it's not hallucinating. It
an
is
AI joke.
Yeah, it is 4. So we got our MCP server up and running. How long did it take us?
It's pretty fast, I have to say. It's very impressive.
It's even faster than your cloud version, right?
It was faster than the cloud version.
Cool. So we are good to go. We have our server up and running, but there is one problem. That server is named as an e-commerce MCP, but it exposes a calculator application. So let's start fixing that, okay? First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to name it an e-commerce app, okay? And I'm going to name everything with the e-commerce app to be an e-commerce app. okay, and then everything on the main server to be an e-commerce app. But the problem is that we still have the add tool over here. And e-commerce.
Oops, we have a jump of Aviad disappearing. Okay, Aviad is back.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah. So I'm gonna remove my add tool over here. And I'm gonna create a tool which is relevant for the e-commerce tool. So we're gonna create a search products tool. So search products, Sagi, I don't know, you probably built several e-commerce, I know from your history, you built an e-commerce website. So search products, search based on category, returns a product and executes the search. It all happens in memory, okay?
That's it's interesting, to pause for a second and just mention that what you're doing here is you're actually building a product. And we hear a lot about those MCP startups, this new thing that is emerging, right? You're not just connecting to an existing tool yet, you're actually building a full backend to a new MCP startup that you can launch in a few minutes.
Totally correct. I'm using the tool by the FrontMCP SDK. I'm wrapping it around my class, okay, which extends our tool context. And it has an execute function. I'm getting the category over here, okay? I'm filtering products based on category. Obviously, for now, I'm using an in-memory, okay? But, we obviously going to connect it to a database at when we go to production. So I have an execute function. I'm filtering as any product would do, okay? But yeah, I'm building from scratch. And only thing I'm left to do is just put my search tool over here to expose it. And I'm good to go. So if I'm going to rerun my MCP, reconnect to it, list my new tools, I get a search product tools, no more add tool, okay? I'm able to run. I get my 3 products over here. And let's filter by category, and I get only electronics product. So good. I mean, that's, it's been 10 minutes, and we already built our new tool using the FrontMCP SDK. Okay, being able to filter, get a schema, output a schema, and that's really strongly typed.
That's great. So now we have this pseudo backend. Show me some real stuff that we can do with it.
Yeah, I can share real stuff. Up until now we did gets, right? Let's extend, obviously most of the applications today, whether it's MCP, RESTful, etc., they'll do both search and post and use a repository for it. Let's implement our own repository, okay? So I'm going to introduce a product repository, okay? So on the product repository, I'm going to introduce a product interface and a product repository, again, still in memory. But now we are not able, so it exposes a get all, get by ID, get by category, obviously search and add, etc. But now we are not able to just do gets. Let's introduce a new tool, if you may. So let's introduce a create purchase tool. So we want to not just get products, we want to build new products and create new products. So I've created a new tool, which is called a create purchase tool. It gets an input schema for the type of product you want to buy, and it returns it. But now this create purchase tool is using this product repository in order to create this. Sagi, when was the last time you coded?
Actually, I try to code lately to feel this vibe coding that is happening.
Okay, when was the last time you didn't vibe coded, but you actually coded?
Many years ago.
Many years ago. Do you see any problem in this code?
Oh, wow. I see some.
Well,
I
okay, let's go.
see,
Let's go. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, you're challenging me now.
You challenge me. I have to challenge you back. Come on.
I think that one of the problems that I start to see is that everything is still opened up, and everybody can
Yeah,
call everything.
that's okay, and we're gonna close it in a second. But one of the problems is that this create purchase tool is using a product repository. Correct me if I'm wrong. If I go to the search tool, it still has an in-memory. So that's an architecture problem.
So the performance is not going to be great, and we're going to lose a lot of stuff along the
And
way.
there is no single source of truth for what is the product. So I created a product repository for both of them. I'm going to run it. And guess what? It's not going to work. You know why? I'm going to reconnect. I'm going to list my tools, and I still only see one tool. So the reason for that is in order for a tool to appear within the front-end MCP, you have to kind of declare that you're exposing it. So that's the way I'm doing it now. So within my e-commerce app, I'm declaring the tools that I want to expose to the outer world. So I'm declaring that I want to expose my search products tool and my create products tool. And then if I reconnect and list my tools, I have both of them. I'm going to search for products. I have 4 different products. Let's buy an iPhone 17, okay?
Let's do it.
Yeah, that's $7.99 last time I checked for electronics. Okay, did bought me an iPhone 17. Okay, man, I'm so happy. And now I have my iPhone 17. Sagi, when are you gonna ship it to me?
It's on its way. So tell me for a second, Aviad. So what are we using here for for data management? Are you hooking it up to a database? What's the long-term plan here, and how are we kind of building it step by step?
So that's a great question. For now, we are connecting it completely to the product repository. Product repository currently lives like in memory.
Mm-hmm.
We do plan to connect it to a database, but there is one crucial security piece missing. In order for us to connect it to a database, we kind of need to know which user is connected and when. So that's when we are that's where we are currently stuck.
No user management at all.
No user management,
right? It's
and
open
no
up
authentication.
publicly.
Yeah. If you'll take a look, when we run our MCP server, it even says.
Okay, it warns us about the tools are basically opened up to anybody.
Correct. So I think maybe now is the time to kind of think about authentication.
Let's think about authentication.
So I don't know. I mean, do you know any good authentication providers, IDPs, whatever?
I happen to know one that is that they say that it's pretty good. It's called FrontMCP.
FrontMCP?
Yeah.
Never heard of it. But,
that's a founder's joke.
Yeah. Let's try it out. It's important to mention that the FrontMCP supports any OpenID Connect MCP, okay? So any OpenID Connect IDP. So it can be FrontEgg, it can be Okta, it can be Auth0, it can be Azure, Entra External ID. If you're providing an OpenID Connect IDP, we got you covered, okay? But as my co-founder suggested, we're going to use FrontEgg for now. So I'm adding an environment variable over here. And all I have to do in order to use that is go to my server and just add my auth claim. So I'm going to use a remote auth based on OpenID Connect with an OpenID Connect based URL, which is the FrontEgg URL. Let's rerun. I'm going to rerun my inspector as well. Okay. So now we are going to reconnect. Voila, we are being redirected to our OpenID Connect provider. I'm gonna log in.
Nice design.
Thank you. And do you happen to know why there's no password presented?
Because I believe that the right approach is passwordless.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So we got our 6 digits code going back, and we are authenticated. Yeah, I have 2 tools. I'm authenticated. Do you trust me?
I trust you. That's a customer identity joke.
Yeah. Yeah. So other customers I talked with, they do not trust me. You know why?
Why they don't trust you?
Because they don't trust anyone. Okay. So in order to prove them wrong, I had to implement a tool. So I'm going to show you, okay, how to implement a tool that actually uses the authentication that we just showed. So I implemented a tool called Me. Okay. That's so on the Me tool, we're going to declare it a Me. Who am I? And it's going to return my name, my email, and the roles that I have within. Okay. Now this tool won't work, if you remember, until I
Not
expose
declared.
it. Yeah. So I declare it, and then I'm gonna rerun it. So now when I'm logged in, going back, reconnecting, listing my tools, I have a new tool called Me. And there we go. I'm Aviad with FrontEgg, good IDP, and I have an admin role.
So
Okay.
tell us a bit about the admin role. Where have you received it from?
So the admin role actually propagates from the remote IDP. It can be a FrontEgg IDP, but any IDP that is passed through FrontEgg, okay, if you map the claims correctly, okay, we're gonna get the roles into it. And that's important because we're gonna use the roles, and we can use the roles in order to propagate different authorization plugins and adapters on top of it.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Cool. So we have a complete secured IDP.
That's actually pretty great. Tell me a bit, how extensible is that? Where can we take it in terms of performance, and is it really something I can use in my production?
Yeah, that's pretty extensible. Before, we are talking about extensibility, when you presented the demo 2 days ago, we had a remote REST API server, right? That exposed tools, and then all we had to do with agentic is just connect the open API, and we were serving as some kind of a proxy within the way. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Cool. So
We even have a diagram to show that.
perfect. So so in order to mitigate, and to achieve that, we had to build something in FrontEgg called an MCP adapter. And that part is completely open code as well. So I have a remote server running over here on port 8080. Okay, if I'm gonna go to my 8080 localhost and I'm gonna run /products, I'm getting products. That's a complete REST API, express-based, ancient, old, legacy system. Okay. But considering that the product manager of this system won't do any changes to adapt to MCP, we had to do changes in our e-commerce MCP to adapt to it. In order to get to it, we actually built an adapter. So if I'm gonna go to my e-commerce, I'm gonna create an e-commerce adapter. And I'm actually what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna connect my Open API adapter to this localhost 8080. So now I have my localhost 8080 as the server. Okay, it has two paths of the list products and the create purchase, and I'm going to expose it. And last thing I'm going to do is, as you probably remember, Sagi, is just expose it on the e-commerce app. So as we expose tools, we're going to expose adapters.
That's a very interesting approach. So basically, adapters is something that you can connect, and you basically act as kind of like an orchestrator to everything. This is the approach.
Correct. This is a very good distinguish of approach, because you can connect as many servers as you want to the same app, because your app might be distributed between different microservices, but you can still join all of these microservices on single MCP and expose all of these MCPs as one MCP to the world. So that exactly is the tool, and then you can add your own custom tools on top of it.
Nice.
Okay. So going again to this yarn dev, going back to my MCP inspector, reconnect, list my tools. I have my search products. This is the tool that I implemented, but now I have my legacy tool, and we can see that the remote server got invoked one time. Let's invoke it again, and there we have it again. So same MCP server, different tools, different type of tools are being executed on one endpoint.
That's super cool. What other type of adapters do you see in the future?
So we do see GraphQL adapters and any other type of adapters converting to even XML SOAP. Okay. And we would love the community to join us, and anyone that is using our FrontMCP, and need to adjust to its own legacy system, feel free, to just contribute and go ahead and add your own tools and your own adapters into it.
Nice, love it. Okay, wow. Tell me more. What else can we do with it? Tell me more.
Yeah. So you ask about how extensible is that? Okay. One of the questions that we got asked when we were building Agent Link and when we talked, with our providers is, how can we make, MCP gets, a lot of requests within, a second. So AI adoption is going crazy. We all know that. So what we wanted to achieve is a way first to develop plugins, and the first plugin that we developed is a caching plugin. So, for example, Redis, obviously for caching, is one plugin that we develop. I have a local Redis host running on my Docker over here, and then all I have to do in order to implement a cache plugin is to go to my app, import my cache plugin. That's a default plugin that we developed as part of my our FrontMCP plugins. Okay, and then all I have to do is just add an annotation of plugins just below the adapters. So I have a plugins. I'm initting the cache plugin. So we are using a Redis plugin. We're providing it with a Redis host. And then on our search products, okay, let's imitate a very long request. So what we're going to do is we're going to implement a cache on our search tool. And the first time it's going to be called, we are simulating a delay for 2.5 seconds. And then, let's see what happens. Okay, so again, Redis cache plugin provided by default within the FrontMCP. So going back to my MCP inspector, I'm going to search for products. This is my 2.5 seconds. Next time I'm going to search for it, I'm getting a cache result. So that's our way to contribute to the way that responses are being cached for MCP. So there is no overload on database, etc., or any specific logic on top of that.
That's great. I know. I want to take it a bit, even maybe one step forward on making it really enterprise grade. And you showed us that you get the role of the user that's connected. I'm sure that you can write code to kind of make sure that somebody can do something if they have a specific role or stuff like that, because you know the scope of the session and the user, and that's great. But what about creating more structured way of guardrails into your application? So we showed yesterday how we define policies on the no-code enterprise product. Can you do the same kind of things on open source as well?
Yeah, sure thing. So we just showed a plugin that came out of the box with FrontMCP, correct?
Yep.
Let's see how extensible this is. I'm going to create my own plugins, okay? So I'm going to create 2 plugins. First plugin I'm going to create is my authorization plugin, okay? This authorization plugin is going to run on my list tools, okay? So I have an authorization plugin. It's called authorization, obviously, as you can imagine, and it runs on the list tools flow, okay? What this authorization plugin is going to do is going to return only the tools that the user is authorized to see based on its required roles, okay? I'm going to add this authorization plugin, obviously, as we do every time, to our list of plugins. Okay, and now let's do on the search plugin. On the search, I'm gonna do authorization, and I'm gonna use the admin as a required role. So running it real quick, that's what you showed yesterday, right? We have an RBAC based on that. I'm gonna reconnect, I'm gonna list tools, I have search product, and I'm reminding you that I'm an admin, and the search product is requesting for an admin role. If I'm going to go to an owner role only for a search product, and I'm going to reconnect, sorry, let me run my inspector once again. Okay, I'm going to list my tools. I don't see a search product over here because I'm an owner, and I'm not an owner. I'm an admin. Going back to admin, listing my tools again, and I have a search product. But that's for the list tools. One of the things that we've seen yesterday is for dynamic control over things that can happen, defining guardrails for based on dynamic properties. So let's do a purchase guardrail, okay? You showed yesterday that if an amount exceeded $1,500, it needs to go through approval or blocked, okay?
Right.
So I'm trying to imitate the same logic through a purchase guardrail plugin. So it's called purchase guardrail. I'm providing it with a max price, okay? And it runs on the tool call. So when a tool is called, I'm checking if the price that I was given is exceeding my max price on the guardrail, and then I'm blocking it, okay? And as you can imagine, in order for this to work, what should we do? Yeah, we should include it over here. And then we're going to do it on the create purchase tool. I'm going to do a purchase guardrail. And I'm going to do a max price of $500. Okay?
Easy.
Yeah. So running it again, reconnecting, I have my list of tools. I can run search products. 2.5 seconds. I have a cache. We are all good. Now let's buy some stuff. So I'm gonna buy some candies, okay, for $50. We call it sweets. That's the category. And I'm good to go. So I have candies. I can search. I get a candy. Now let's try to buy an iPhone 17. So we said an iPhone 17 is $799 with electronics. Okay, reminding you that the purchase guideline is for max price of $500. I'm running the tool and I'm blocked because of a guideline policy.
Nice.
Yeah, so if we are fixing the error here, no worries. But that's the idea of adding more and more guardrails within code on top of your tools.
And I assume that in the future you can use kind of a hybrid approach, right? Some of the tools that you want to include or the plugins could come from a paid service, and some of them will go from open source. So full flexibility on that.
The idea of plugins is it's completely customizable and completely extensible. So you can implement your own plugin. If someone from the industry want to support, and want to contribute plugins, even if it's paid, that's the way of doing it. We have our own method, and the idea is that everything is extensible and it runs as annotation on top of any tool within the FrontMCP SDK.
Yeah, this is right now with the interceptor, and it's super cool. But I think that the sweet spot yesterday was around the chat interfaces, and I got a lot of comments after that. Oh wow, like I want to be listed as well. So we had this rush of interest yesterday, because I think that everybody understands that at the end of the day, this is the future of SaaS, right? If you're building an application, you have to be in the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Can you connect that to the chat interfaces as well?
Yeah, obviously, what we build is a fully compliant MCP server. Okay, so no secrets over here. So the fact that MCP inspector could connect, it means that Claude can connect. And for that, what we did, is I've connected, our local host to ngrok, and let's go to Claude. Okay, so I'm in my Claude now. I'm going to go to connectors, and I'm going to add a custom connector. I'm going to call it an e-commerce app. And that's the ngrok URL that is pointing to my address. I'm going to connect to it. Let's see. It listed my tools, so I have my tools over here. Let's open a new chat. Okay, who am I?
Who are you?
Yeah, that's a question I've been asking myself.
That's a deep question you asked there.
Yeah, that's a question I've been asking myself for quite a while now. Yeah, and it uses the e-commerce app me. And we're able to see the call right over here. And that's what it returns. We see that the client name is Claude. And I have an admin access. Okay,
nice.
So search for any electronics products should trigger the same action. But I think at this point you get the idea. This is a complete MCP server, available. So Claude want to use the search product from e-commerce app, and we're going to see the call over here. Okay, that's the result that is being invoked, and there we go. So
incredible.
Yeah,
that's super exciting. We took an approach in 20-30 minutes. You set up with explanations, by the way, so way to go. While coding, spin up a full TypeScript enabled MCP server. You added authentication by Fronteg. You could have added any OpenID Connect. You connected an Open API adapter, right? Correct me if I'm saying something.
Correct. Yeah, Open API adapter.
You connected Redis to it. So every second request would be, 20x faster. Then you connected role-based authorization. You showed us how you can use role-based. So if I'm an admin, I can do stuff. And then you connected some business logic kind of enabled guardrails, right, with the policies that we had yesterday. And everything is also logged. You connected it to the chat interfaces. So you kind of build an MCP startup out there, which becomes a very popular thing. And you did it very, very fast. I think it's great. And once I build this, and let's say that I want to use the approach of actually taking it to the cloud. So at the beginning I'm playing with it, and that's awesome. I can it's even nice for me to kind of control everything. But then I want to take it to the cloud. Are we planning any connectivity between AgentLink and FrontMCP?
Yeah, totally. So obviously you have two options. You can deploy it and host it yourself and maintain it yourself and obviously code it yourself, etc. Which is a way that you can choose if you have a spare time. And then another way is to kind of take it to production. And then if you don't want to build like approval flows and step up, etc., on yourself, within the next couple of weeks, you'll be able to add a remote MCP in Fronteg Agent Link Cloud. Okay, so you're going to deploy your agent MCP powered by this tremendous open source, and then add all of the enterprise guardrails on top of it by Fronteg, by just, as I did with Claude Desktop, by, hosting an ngrok. Okay. Right. You're going to be able to do it in Fronteg by just proxying from Claude to your remote MCP. One other thing that we just mentioned 2 days ago is that we are planning to implement a code-based tools within the Fronteg MCP cloud. So you'll be able to kind of migrate away and port some of your logic from open source to cloud as well. So we are trying to be as flexible as we can, so every developer can choose its own poison, as I like to call it, and then every developer can choose, everything on their own.
That's great, and we have everything up and running on agentfront.dev. We have the repo on agentfront.dev/frontmcp. With a quick start here, exactly with the stuff that you mentioned, a full explanation over the core components and the authentication that we have here, and the extensibility with the providers and adapters and plugins, and the logging mechanism, and how to actually build it for production usage. And more stuff are coming in the next few days and weeks. So super excited to see everything else. You definitely proved that we can do, a lot of stuff if we want to code. And obviously, you can also do all of these things in kind of like a vibe coding approach, right? Because this is the new way to code. And, it's super, super exciting. I think that we have a few questions from the crowd, so yeah, let's have it. Okay, so the first, how it can be used in utility sphere. So it's getting more AI-oriented last years, and they will get AI agents very soon. How dangerous is it security-wise?
Yeah, so in the utilities sphere, I mean, I believe it's like everywhere else on propagating the right guardrails and propagating everything. We discussed yesterday on agent credit score and everything around making sure that we first expose the least tools that we have and then gaining the agent trust in order to get more tools in there. So I know that it's getting more AI. It's not a bad thing, Ilona. It's a good thing that it's getting more AI because it means more proficiency on top of that. But what eventually what I'm saying is that security wise, providing more and more guardrails is the wiser thing to go, assuming that the agent credit score is valid.
Yeah, I agree. And we spoke about it yesterday with Nir. I think that everybody understands that this is happening. It's going to happen. It's already happening in for some products that release their new connector to the marketplace, to some AI marketplace. And I think that the challenge here is to really provide an easy way to start with something, even if it's a small portion that you start to allow to open up to AI and do it in a safe manner, so you can control the data that is going out to the models and to your customers. You can control the authorization. If you're a multi-tenant product, then you also have the data segregation to protect. You don't want somebody to ask questions about a different tenant. And we need to remember that we're dealing here with those very pleasing creatures of LLMs that are trying at all cost to to please the users that are asking the questions, right? And if they can't do it through one way, they will try to do it through another way. So I think it's important not to try and reinvent the wheel, but really go with things that are tested out and with solutions that can protect against bad stuff, like we're hearing over the last few weeks on some MCP interfaces. Okay, any other question? Okay, Aaron is asking, you mentioned using other IDPs besides FrontEG. A lot of them are saying they help with AI. What are you doing that they are not doing?
Yeah, so I get it that they're saying that they help with AI. All of the IDPs pretty much on the base level like the same with exposing OAuth 2.1 and dynamic client registration, which is the basis in order to support AI workflows. Obviously, FrontEG does it the same, and other IDPs. What we kind of do that they don't do is provide these cloud-based no-code guardrails on top of MCP calls, which is the granular authorization level that is required, which we just talked about it yesterday, providing the tenant level policies and providing everything to make sure that AI adoption is being provided safely. And when AI adoption is being done, it's far beyond just the login process, which is other IDPs are taking it on the login process and the authentication part. We are trying to make sure that even after the authentication, the agent interaction are securely being proxied to the remote IDP, remote API.
And I opened this blog that Aviad, that I know that you invested a lot of effort in writing, and you're going to write more things soon. So I think it's really covering the bits and bytes of starting out with opening up your product. And I want to really thank you. It was awesome can't wait to see what's coming next in the next few weeks. And I know that now it's on both fronts, right? It's on the agent link and on the open source and the connection between the two. We're already getting a lot of requests for presenting some of those inner connectivities between the methods, and it's going to happen. So really, thank you. Thanks for the team. It were amazing 3 days of releases, and yeah, it's an exciting time we're living in, getting to to AI native, helping companies to become AI native, changing the way SaaS is being consumed. Very exciting, and we're up for the challenge.
And I will just say, if you think you're gonna wait, few months until the next release, don't. It's gonna be much faster. So
thank you so much.